yeah, I'll talk about it. So yes, I think one of the major mistakes I made in secondary school was believing that I had found love. Hello, hello. So yeah, welcome to I think my first official video here on this channel. Um, well, it's a wonderful weather today here in the States. I mean Lagos States for that matter. So so yeah, before we dive into the video, I can quickly introduce myself. My name is Polikina, and I'm actually a graduate from the university. I'm a Christian. I'm also an engineer. Engineer, you understand throughout the video. But anyways, so the main reason why I'm doing this video is for people who I'm talking about the young ones who are just leaving secondary school and they are transitioning into the university. So first of all, I want to congratulate you. Well done. You spent 6 years now, I believe so. If you're not like some of us that jumped classes, but you've spent 6 years so far in secondary school, and I know it has been a lot of highs and lows, some courses that you took, some classes, some of them want to strangle you, but thank God you escaped, and here you are, you're successful. I know it's something to celebrate about, and now you are transitioning into something even, let's say, tougher, or it's something even more exciting because the university is very, very much different from secondary school in many unique ways. So yeah. So throughout the course of this video, what I want to do is probably I just want to answer some questions, some very personalized questions that I believe can help you, guide you to reflect on the phase you are living and even the phase you are planning to transition into. And I know this is going to be a beautiful session, so I'm going to be answering some questions. I just want you to pay cool attention, and if you have anything to say, please leave it down in the comment section. So let's go. So the first question we have here is, okay, so how did it feel like leaving secondary school and going into the university? So how did it feel like leaving secondary school and going into the university? Well, for me, the funny thing about my own story is that right from when I was in junior secondary school, I think JSS2, I already started envisioning leaving secondary school. For me, secondary school was not as glamorous as maybe the way you experienced yours, but I always envisioned leaving secondary school and transitioning to the university. And the main purpose of my main ideology behind that was that I felt going into the university, I had more freedom. Number one, yes, I had more will to diversify into different things, especially in academics. I was a bookworm. I was a bookworm, but even though being a bookworm, I still felt like secondary school caged me in the extent of things I could study or explore, the extent of things I could do with my life. You know what I'm saying? So leaving secondary school into the university was a very exciting moment for me. In fact, it was so exciting. I can tell you this. I had already planned to go abroad, study. I had applied to MIT. I had big dreams, I know. Big dreams. Those days. So I had applied to schools like MIT, Rhodes, SATs, and yeah, like you can say I was extremely brilliant, but we thank God. And there we did. So it was, well, I had some things break my heart. I could not travel anymore. I could not go to MIT. I could not go to any school abroad. So I had to settle here in Nigeria and got the best out of it. Thank God. So yes, leaving secondary school for me was an exciting experience. Like I was really looking forward to it. I know you're also looking forward to it, right? It's I'm telling you, it's something uniquely different. Something for some people they are scared, yes. For some people they are scared because now you are entering into a new environment where you don't know what to expect. So I think that's why we're doing this video. So you will know what to expect. But you don't know what to expect, you don't know the people you are going to meet, you don't even know the the strength, because sometimes we may be very strong in our secondary school. I've had cases like that, even me myself. I've had cases like that when in secondary school we were the high flyers, courses, maths, anything, we did it. But getting to university, we started lagging behind, started struggling. So I think it's something most of us didn't prepare our mind for it. So it's something you should prepare your mind for so that you don't fall behind. So yeah, so that's my take on that question. It was an exciting experience for me. It was something I looked forward to. All right, so the second question we are tackling now is were there mistakes you made in secondary school that looking back now felt so stupid? Can I talk about this? Should I talk about it? Yeah, I'll talk about it. So, yes, I think one of the major mistakes I made in secondary school was believing that I have found love. Yes, I don't know. I think it was peer pressure and maybe some of those those Telemundo movies. I know at home then my sister and my mom used to watch the Z Words, the Telemundos, and all these Philippine love stories. And me, I will claim that I'm a boy. I don't watch all this nonsense. But let me tell you the truth. Should I tell you the truth? The truth is, once in a while, or not even once in a while, most times when they are watching, I will sneak in and be, taking some notes and lessons. And I actually learned a lot. I think more than what I needed at that time. I learned a lot more than what I needed. So one thing led to the other. I found myself involved with a lady, and although it started out as friendship, but yes, so I think it was a mistake. I'm not saying anything happened per se, but it was just because it distracted me a lot. I got distracted. My focus was a little watered down, and yes, it felt so like if anybody had told me that time that what you are doing is not. I remember then I'll be reading the Bible and I'll see a name in the Bible. I'll be like, oh, God is trying to show me something. Wow. So yes, if anybody had told me at that time that guy, what you're doing does not make sense, it is wrong or blah blah blah, I'll say no. I'm very sure. Like it's very hard to convince those secondary school lovers that they should hold on. It's very hard. I think I was one of them. Well, we thank God. Like I said, this is a raw and uh, honest conversation. So yes, one of the mistakes I made in secondary school was believing I had found love. Other ones I made, can I remember? Yes, at some point I was a snob. I was a big snob. Although I was not that of a snob, but I was a big snob. I didn't talk to everybody per se. I didn't have the wisdom to have people in my circle that had different ideologies from me and maybe different bias. I didn't have the wisdom to still have them around me and still share opinions and maybe relate just to relate. And I think this is what you will need as you transition into the university. Because in university you see diversities of people. You see people that are I met once with an atheist, people that don't believe in God, people that believe in spending somehow, like people that just have different ideologies from you. And you see, you need to have this people's relationship, this ability to have people, the ability to interact with people and not still allow them to influence your own ideologies, your own righteous ideologies per se. Not have them interact, not have them interfere with it, and at the same time, you don't push them away because of their mindsets. All right, so that's still being able to accommodate people. I think that's the word, accommodate people, but not have them change you. And yes, you shouldn't you shouldn't go to the extreme of maybe trying to do some things that don't agree with your own ideologies just in the name to please people. Please don't do that. But at the same time, don't just be hostile. Yes, that's the word. Don't be hostile to people just because of their ideologies. The ideology, if they share different ideologies from you, don't be hostile to them. So yeah, that's I think one of the mistakes I made in secondary school. And I think that later, when I entered university, that later played out in very terrible ways. I think it took the Holy Spirit to speak to my heart, and I was able to, calm down and now have greater wisdom. So yeah, that's it. So we're going to the next question now. The next question says, "How did you know what to study in the university?" A very interesting question. I think if you survey through many secondary school students, I think one of the struggles they have is having knowing with certainty what exactly to study in university. And actually why they have that struggle is because you don't know what the future holds per se. It takes a very high degree of courage to say with certainty that, man, my future, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be this. Mind you, while I was growing up, I think towards GSS2, I wanted to be a doctor. It was so ingrained in my head that every single time, doctor, doctor, doctor. And I know I look like a doctor. So I wanted to be a doctor, but on getting to GSS2, I began to find, I think God just orchestrated certain things, and I began to find interest in mathematics, physics, and all those things. Even in GSS2, yes, I've told you I was a good one. So I started finding interest in mathematics, physics, chemistry, and even biology. And one way or the other, I started even engaging in like some practical hands-on projects, and that's sort of swayed my mind away from medicine and into engineering. So at that time, I already knew I was going to be doing engineering because I had interest in it, and that's why you should personally look into it. I know that just if you have not exhibited courage enough, even towards this time when you're leaving secondary school, it may be difficult for you to just be certain. But I want you to be bold about it. Now, I want you to what do you have desire in? Take note of it. Ask yourself, why am I studying this? Is it because my friend is doing it, or is it because my parents did it? Most of us are blinded by what I call role model success. If you have someone around you that is highly successful, sometimes as secondary school students, we tend to look at the successful ones around us and maybe pick their course with the hope that we ourselves will be successful as well. So, like I said, take note of what interests you. Ask yourself honest questions and ask yourself, if you are not going to be making money out of this, would you still enjoy doing it? So that's a very important question to ask. Just like if you're not going to be making money out of it, are you still going to enjoy doing it? Yes, our motivation or our definition of success and motivation for life is mostly financial. But as I was leaving secondary school now, please take into account that sometimes not every financial lucrative course ends up being profitable and profitable at the end. We see people who studied law, study different things, and what they are doing. Some of the realities in Nigeria is what you studied in university is not what you are doing after university. I'm not praying that should be your reality. All right, so you have to be wise about it. Do what you love, not what you hope will give you money. Is that okay? Do what you love, not what you hope will give you money. Because when you do what you love, you have passion, and with passion, you have direction, you have zeal. You can navigate and see how you can turn whatever you love into a financial stream. I know I did not properly capture this, but I hope it does justice to it. I hope it does justice to it. Just for me, it was more of my interest, what I love doing. And today I graduated from the university with a mechanical engineering degree, and I'm currently working even towards that line in engineering. So just do what you love. I love engineering so much. I love engineering so much. I can tell you that for a fact. And if there was any other course I could study, I would still study engineering because I loved it. I never did it for the grades. I never did it for the money I could get out of it. I just did it because I was fascinated about how things worked and how things come together. So please take note of that. Is that clear? Thank you very much. We're moving to the next question now. Time is on our side. The next question says, did you have any insecurities going to the university? Or more? Right. Yes, I had a lot of insecurities. I think one of them was at that time I did not know it was an insecurity until I got to university and found out that wow, okay, you are small, look. Yes, I had a very small stature for someone who is old, I'm not that old, but for someone who is old, I had a very small stature, and getting into university and seeing guys who are very huge, very big, I know it was quite intimidating, right? Because every year we come back every single year and I see people getting bigger and bigger, and me, my stature was just remaining almost the same. So it felt, it just felt a little bit intimidating. So how did I actually overcome this? I think even though I was small, I still had something up my sleeves that I will see help me. I was very bold, very, very bold. Like, if you see me talking to people, I never allowed those insecurities. I never allowed that insecurity, number one, to limit me to the kind of person I can talk to or the kind of people I could talk to. All right. So, and anytime I spoke, anytime I climbed the podium, because I was also very diverse. I found myself in different departments and different positions. So anytime I spoke, I always spoke with boldness. And I can tell you for a fact, if you are bold, insecurities are often taken back to the background. They are often watered down to the background. Who cares if you are small, as long as you are mighty? That's why they say small but mighty. So that's one thing I used to fight that particular insecurity. I was very bold, very audacious. I was very vocal. I had a very big voice. Yes, I had a very loud voice. So anytime I spoke, I announced my presence. I announced it. Everyone is aware that I am there. I was not too scared for people to see me, even though I saw it as. Anyways, another insecurity I knew I had was the dressing. Yes, that dressing. That one was very funny because being very buried in books throughout my secondary school, I did not really take time to look into the theory of colors, color combination, the theories of dressing. If you see me that time, I would just wear anything that, as long as it was clothes, I would wear it. Imagine wearing a yellow shirt atop a purple lower. Looking back, this is very, very funny. And because of that, apart from the fact that I did not have many clothes at that time, it did not still. No. If I look at it, I'll just start laughing because I could wear. And now I go to a private school where we had to wear. Yes, I schooled in Redeemers University. We had to wear corporate shirts, corporate trousers. We had to be on ties, and now now I have to think about combinations every single day. Most of the friends that knew me knew that I was only stuck with blue. So every day I wore different shades of blue, different shades of black trouser and blue shirts and blue tie. Like I would just, because it felt like I discovered a theory when I found out that blue shirts could go with black trouser and a type of tie. Black that was I buried myself in. Most of my shirts were blue. It was not until my 500 level where one of my friends, yes, my friend then, or she helped me with a lot of wardrobe architecture, and I started diversifying into different other colors. It was hard. Even till today, I still find myself sometimes falling back to blue. I don't know, but it was hard, and I thank God, I was able to overcome that. You come across people who are dressing so, and you look at yourself and you say that, wow, God, I'm here. Look at my shoe. Look at my clothes. So those things, they may try to lower your self-esteem. It really affected me. Try to lower your self-esteem, but and I think that is one of the reasons why many people who go into the universities, maybe coming from secondary school, they get overly distracted with their social status. And it's not bad. You should dress very well, right? But if you are too engrossed in your if you're too engrossed in it, sometimes uh, it can distract you. Yes, if you're too engrossed in social status, it can distract you. But please note, you should look your best. Is that okay? Look your best and also be your best. All right, so moving to the next question. What lessons did you learn in your first year in the university? Oh yeah, I think from the last question, I think that would have answered some of them. My first year in universities, I had to learn that secondary school is not the same thing with this place. All right, I'm meeting different people. The whole structure of the academics is different. In secondary school, you have science and this thing. You have to do all these courses that are normal. The highest you can get is A. The grading system was probably A, B, C, D. I don't know how they do it in your school. Probably A1, B1. Those are the grading systems. Now we get into university and we are hearing things like units, 3 units, 2 units, 1 unit, and you can get a course has a weight. You understand? If you get A in a 3 unit course, it's different from getting A in a 1 unit course, and the weight matters a lot. And so you now start hearing things like GPA, CGPA. It depends on your country, or it depends on your school. Some schools already run CGPA systems from secondary, but if you are not running that, you begin to see new things like CGPA, GPA, all those things, and sometimes it can become so overwhelming. So one of the things I had to learn was that these two systems are different. So if you are going to be entering into university, you have to optimize yourself for the university. All right. So the way you read in secondary school will not be the same way you should read for the university, or when you're in the university, it should be different. All right. So yes, that's one thing I had to learn. Another thing I had to learn again in my first year was that my first year results played a very big role in my cumulative results. So one thing that happens in the university is that your results, the results you got in SS1 and SS2, they are not combined. All right. So when you get to third term, they combine SS1, third term SS1, they combine SS1 first term, second term, third term. But they don't. When you get to SS2, that's not the case. But in the university, throughout your 5 years, all your courses, every score you get in every year is added up together and combined in the particular way to give you a final cumulative score. So you must make sure that every single year you are performing your best. And I found out by experience that the first year plays a big role. The grade you get in your first year plays a big role in how your grades will be accumulated towards the end of your stay in the university. So you need to put in your best in the first year. I can tell you for a fact, if your first year is very good, it is most likely that your other years will be, they will just act as support systems. You get what I'm saying? If your first year is good, the other years may act as support systems to make it better. But if your first year is bad, the other years we act like they want to save your life. And you have to put in all your, and you have to be cutting away things that you would have cut away in your first year, and all those things. So in your first year, please focus on your academics. I tell you for a fact, focus on your academics. Focus strictly on your academics. All right. A lot of social events will come up, but please do not be engrossed in them. Make sure that your head is on your academics. There are many ways you can read. Probably I will do some other videos in this channel to guide you on how to study and how to understand faster. Those things, they are very important. So yeah, those are things I had to learn my first year. A different ball game entirely. And yes, uh, it's also sad that many people missed their first year results and ended up paying for it in the coming years. So I don't want you to fall into that. So take note of that. And I will be answering our last question. Our last question. What advice do you have for those coming into the university? Hmm. I have a truckload of advice, but I'll keep it simple. You know, like the word university means a universe, it's kind of a universe in a city. All right. So it tells you about the diversities of people that come together into a particular space. All right. So meaning that the university is not just focused on academics. The main purpose of the university is not just academics, right? It influences a lot of your lives, a lot of the aspects of your life, your spirituality, your your connections after school, your physique, your mind. It affects a lot of your life, and you want to make sure that every aspect of your life is properly catered for. All right, so you don't miss it in any of these aspects. They're properly catered for. I think one of the most important things I can advise is your spirituality. Coming into 100 level or your first year in the school, and you have to find a footing in your spirituality. And this will go on further to help you throughout your stay in university, because you'll be meeting people who have diverse beliefs. Yes, you have diverse beliefs, and I can tell you for a fact, everyone is trying to make you, even though they say they're not trying to, everyone is trying to make you believe what they believe, because there's this synergy when we share beliefs. All right, so you want to make sure you have a good spiritual standing. Seek God early, very early in your university days. Yes, don't be so buried in spiritual programs that you forget your academics, but at the same time, always understand that your spirituality is so just understand that your spirituality is very, very important. Yeah, so find a good community of Christians, pray often, and also understand that without God, it's very difficult to reap something good out of life, and yes, out of the university. And another thing I want you to understand is this: have that mindset that as you are coming in, you're going to leave one day. So don't just bury yourself in trying to make your university days the best of it, the best of the best. Also have at the back of your mind that you're going to leave here one day. So start thinking about when you will leave, right? So that way inform just not just what you study, but how you study. All right. So don't just study to pass exams. Don't just study to pass exams. Study for the person you want to become. All right. So if you want to become an engineer, don't just study to pass the engineering exams. Also study for the expertise you want to have when you get into the engineering field. Same thing with other course of studies. Always study for the expertise you want to have when you go into the field. So yeah, that will be all I have for you today. Hope this was an insightful moment for you. So like I said earlier, I congratulate you for making it this far. You have done really well, but I know you can do better. So God bless you. See you on the other side of the universe. Bye.